Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yup, what's good, original crew, man? We're back on the channel, man. We got a new Just Thought Lounge for y'all today, man. Body cam. This Just Thought Lounge is bizarre Facebook post lead detectives to a shocking discovery. Have you heard about this? It is the murder of Jasmine Pace.
Oh, that name sounds familiar.
Does it?
It does. Legit. It sounds familiar, but I don't know.
Because when I clicked on it, I was like, the name low-key sounds familiar.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100%.
100% sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Man, but hey, with that being said, before we get into it, always make sure you check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go if you want to first support. All you got to do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's visuals.
Liking it with a thumbs up.
What you doing?
I'm sorry. I'm all over the place.
Very much so. Hey, man, with that being said, let's go. Let's check it out. Let's see what's about. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's get it, man. Oh, never mind. If you're new to the channel and haven't already, hit that subscribe button, man. Let's get
Please
it.
do that.
22-year-old community college student Jasmine Pace had plans to spend Thanksgiving 2022 with her family. To her mother's surprise, she sent a text message last minute canceling those plans. On Jasmine's Facebook account, there was a new post. It read, "Enjoying Thanksgiving with my baby." Except the photo accompanying the post was not from Thanksgiving. In this photo, Jasmine's distinctive tattoos were missing. It had to have been taken months earlier. Concern turned to panic as her family realized the implications. No one knew where Jasmine was, and someone was online pretending to be her.
Wow.
Hi there, I'm Kevin, and welcome to Just Thought Lounge. Today's case is as gruesome as it is heartbreaking. It's one of those stories that stays with you long after it's over. There's a lot to digest here, so let's take a look. The night before Thanksgiving 2022, Jasmine Pace left her mother's home in Chattanooga, Tennessee at just before 11:30 p.m.
That might be why we heard the name before. 2022? That, bro.
I have heard her name before. I don't know if I seen.
2022 feels like such a long time ago, but it technically, as far as Thanksgiving time, that's just two and a half years ago.
Yeah. I probably would need more details to really see. Yeah.
Damn.
She drove her white Chevy Equinox. The next day, Katrina Pace received a message from her daughter's phone. She planned to stay at the home of her friend Emma for the rest of the week, the text read. Jasmine had recently lost her grandmother to cancer, so when she opted out of the family gathering, it didn't immediately raise alarm bells.
True.
She had occasionally chosen to be out of contact for brief periods as she worked through her grief. That abruptly changed, however, following a new post on Jasmine's Facebook page. "Enjoying Thanksgiving with my baby," it read. At first, what struck Katrina about the post was the revealing outfit her daughter wore. It was not characteristic of Jasmine to post such a revealing photo of herself online.
You wouldn't do
It
that.
was another...
You wouldn't do that if I don't want...
Especially
I want to
especially
take
on
it back.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Because, if it's in her camera roll or something like that, it's not something that you have your Facebook because, you have your family and stuff.
Unless it's type of content that you normally already post.
Yeah, but I'm saying in this case,
Yeah.
then it wasn't the norm.
Yeah. But, some people do put provocative photos on their...
Yeah.
But
I'm just saying in her case, obviously it's out the norm. That's not stuff that she normally posts on Facebook. Maybe other or family, mom, that's not it. But yeah.
Another aspect of the image that sparked waves of panic for Jasmine's father, Travis Pace. Jasmine's many tattoos formed a kind of timeline. each obtained on a different date, months apart. In this image, Jasmine's extensive tattoos on her upper right arm were missing. This post was not what it claimed to be. Katrina spoke with Jasmine's friend Emma and confirmed what she had already suspected by that time. Jasmine was not with her family for the week, as the text had claimed. Several other friends and family members had received messages, ostensibly from Jasmine as well, though no one had spoken with her directly. In each instance, the messages stated that the 22-year-old wished to be alone. The family began immediately to search for her. Jasmine's Chevy SUV was equipped with a GPS feature called My Chevy. The My Chevy app allowed her mother to track the location of the vehicle. It was found parked outside a building of condominiums off of Mountain Creek Road in Chattanooga. By the time the vehicle was discovered, it was already 8:30 p.m. on November 26th, 4 days after Jasmine had last been seen, leaving her mother's late on the 22nd. As far as the family was aware, Jasmine did not know anyone at the Signal View condos where the Equinox was parked. When they accessed the vehicle, the driver's seat had been pushed back. It seemed that someone much taller than Jasmine's petite 5'2" stature had last been behind the wheel. A call was placed to 911 to report her disappearance. Chattanooga police arrived and took a report detailing what the family had discovered.
We want her home and we want her safe.
Bailey Putman is doing anything she can to try to bring her childhood friend home. Jasmine Pace hasn't been seen since November 22nd. Chattanooga police are investigating the case as a missing person.
Her mom has not an ounce of sleep. I don't think she is 8.
Jasmine was last seen here on surveillance video leaving her mom's house. They believe she was trying to leave town to grieve a recent death in the family, but they knew something went wrong when she didn't show up to Thanksgiving dinner.
And that is so very unlike her. There's not a day that they don't hear from Jasmine, let alone an hour.
Katrina also contacted the family's cell phone provider. Jasmine was on their family plan, which granted her mother access to her phone records. There had been no calls placed from the phone for days. With the call log in hand, the frantic mother began calling every number listed. She did so in the presence of police. There was one number that Jasmine had connected with for over an hour on the night of the 22nd. When Katrina tried this number, the phone connected to a young man that Jasmine had met on the dating app Bumble. Jason Chen was a computer science major at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. The two had been dating for several months, though the relationship had not been serious enough to warrant an introduction to her parents. Neither Katrina nor Travis had met Jason. The computer science student was informed that Jasmine was missing. Had he heard from her? Not for days, he said, and when they had last spoken, it had only been for a few minutes. Katrina knew this to be a blatant lie.
Right.
He just lied and said that he hadn't talked to her for a few minutes Monday, when she was with me at the bank. He talked to her for 71 minutes. He would remember that. He talked to her for over an hour, and he just lied.
Jason's lack of concern was another red flag. Katrina pleaded with officers to take further steps to investigate, but they did very little. Jasmine was an adult, and there were no clear signs at that point in time of foul play. A report was written and contact information exchanged before they left the frustrated parents on their own once more. So Katrina and Travis took matters into their own hands. They began knocking on every door at the condominium complex. No one had seen Jasmine. A security guard agreed to share the camera footage of the white Chevy entering the parking lot. With the timestamps provided on the My Chevy app, they narrowed in on the footage. On November 23rd, just past 8:30 p.m., the SUV drove into the lot and in the direction of the location where it was later found parked. The driver could not be identified. Unnoticed on Katrina's cell phone until this time was one final text message that had been sent to her from Jasmine in the early morning hours of November 23rd. There was no message, just a pin-dropped location showing where her device was at that time. It was received at 2:18 a.m. Her daughter had never sent a message like this to her before, certainly not in the middle of the night. The day after their concerns were dismissed by police at the condos, the family promptly went to the location from the message, the apartments at 110 Tremont Street. Again, the desperate parents knocked on every door. All but one, apartment 210, answered or was accounted for. Neighbors recounted that they had heard a loud disturbance from the direction of that unit in the early hours of November 23rd, around 2:15 a.m. Recollections vary, but somehow Katrina and Travis made their way inside apartment 210. A notebook inside the door revealed the name of its occupant, Jason Chen. It was a small unit, open concept with the kitchen only feet from the couch. A hallway led to the only bedroom. There was one bathroom and a laundry unit stacked inside of a closet. Most of the apartment was visible immediately upon walking in. On the kitchen counter sat a small travel bag. It belonged to Jasmine. Cleaning supplies sat out. In the drawer of a desk, Travis discovered his daughter's driver's license along with her credit cards. These he pulled out and left sitting in plain view. Chattanooga police were once again called out. Officers spoke with Katrina once more. They also spoke with the neighbors. Then they left. Believing that law enforcement was proving useless to them once more, Katrina re-entered the apartment multiple times over the next few hours. She took notebooks and electronics, multiple cell phones, a camera, and an iPad, anything that she thought could give an indication of her daughter's location. The parents also searched through the dumpsters outside of the building. It was close to midnight before the Chattanooga PD returned to 110 Tremont with a search warrant and began formally to commence their search. During the initial walkthrough, investigators noted what appeared to be bloody stains on the hardwood floor, in the living room, absorbed by the grouting in the bathroom, on the bedroom carpet. Spatter was identified on the doors in the bathroom wall. The abundance of cleaning supplies was also extremely concerning. Trash bags had been emptied. Police checking the dumpsters found 2 white sneakers and a pair of blue trousers. These items were collected. Back inside the unit, they spotted fragments of broken glass in the living room. Indications of a violent incident were accumulating. Furniture appeared to have been moved around. In the bedroom, there were marks on the carpet, which indicated where furniture had sat for some time and had been subsequently moved to other parts of the room. The rearrangement of the room, it seems, was likely done in an attempt to cover a large stain that was spotted underneath the bed. On top of the bed sat a kitchen knife. In virtually every room, investigators identified stains that could be blood. The crime scene unit was called in to spray down areas of the apartment with Blue Star, the forensic agent used to identify areas where blood may have been cleaned up or invisible to the naked eye. The hallway...
That's so much. For me, it was already a red flag once you lied about how long you even talked to her in the first place. Like, that alone, I'm like, bro, I can clearly see that y'all was on the phone for over an hour.
Then finding her ID and stuff there on the what's
man,
called?
Be for real.
Yeah.
Lit up. The case of Jasmine Pace's disappearance became a homicide.
And a recovery.
Detectives obtained security camera footage from the apartment building and the surrounding area. They were able to piece together a timeline of Jason Chen's movements with the aim of hopefully gaining an understanding of where they might find Jasmine Pace. Investigators could be certain that she had arrived at 110 Tremont before midnight on the 22nd. Her Chevy Equinox was captured taking a right turn into the building parking lot. The Chevy was also captured leaving. Indeed, it could be tracked to the condominium buildings from Jason's apartment building. At about 8:30 p.m. the day after Jasmine arrived, a figure in a light-colored hoodie was captured driving it from the building towards the Signal View condos. A dark-colored Prius, likely a hired taxi, collected that driver from the condos and dropped them off in front of Jason's building.
Why would your dumb ass take a taxi?
A ring camera from the apartment door directly beside an exit door to the parking lot captured Jason Chen leaving the building on multiple occasions on the 23rd, including at 8:27 p.m., 3 minutes before the driver in the light hoodie took Jasmine's SUV to the Signal View condos and left it there. There were a few additional trips made by Jason Chen over the Thanksgiving holiday that
And he know the camera right there, right? He's like that's why he's constantly trying to wear a hat, trying to wear a hood. He's trying to cover up, but bro, when you live in a spot and you constantly walking, that's easy to that's him. It's not a clear image, but by body structure, by clothing style, you know?
Yeah.
There were a few additional trips made by Jason Chen over the Thanksgiving holiday that piqued the interest of investigators. The first was a morning trip to Walmart, alone, where he purchased, amongst other things, Band-Aids, peroxide, and cleaning products. Captured using the self-checkout, he ran a few of the more expensive items through as asparagus. The overhead Walmart camera offered a clear view of Jason's pair of white sneakers. These shoes were thought to be the same pair found discarded outside of the apartment dumpsters. On the evening of the same day, Jason stopped at a Walgreens and purchased a package of paper towels. Sometime between his trip to Walmart that morning and the time he left the blood-stained and hastily cleaned apartment, he must have taken Jasmine from the building, discarding items of his clothing as part of an attempt to cover his tracks. As investigators tracked the computer science student on various footage throughout Chattanooga, they were aided by his notable white hoodie, a bright and distinct article of clothing that could be identified even in dark and sometimes fuzzy surveillance video. At almost 6 p.m. on the 23rd, the white hoodie emerged from the building once more. This time,
dragging something?
That's it looks like either a garbage bag, a tote bag, or a suitcase. I really can't tell because. But right here, it looks like a suitcase. But when he goes like right here, it's like it's very grainy footage because it's so long range.
Yeah.
It looked like he told him though.
At almost 6 p.m. on the 23rd, the white hoodie emerged from the building once more. This time, the figure was struggling to pull a large suitcase from the front door of the building towards the parking lot.
Do we not have that on footage? Because he always on footage coming.
Yeah.
Moments later, Jason's black Toyota Camry was captured leaving.
Wow, man. That's so sad.
And I ain't gonna lie, it's in Chattanooga. What's 9 times out of 10 you gonna dump somebody in that river? But also, it's a high chance of possibility that the body floats back up, so you might not do that. You get what I mean? So Chattanooga, where is either you can head to Georgia, dump her off in Georgia, because that's you right down the line, or you can head back towards Nashville in the mountains and discard the body. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
On November 29th, 1 week after Jasmine was last seen, Jason Chen was located at his parents' home in Nolensville. Arresting officers noticed lacerations.
You hear?
Yeah, he was in Nolensville at his parents' house. I heard.
So which way would make more sense to come back to? Head back towards Nashville, Nolensville, and discard her. Yeah. It's a lot of rural areas to dump her.
Yeah.
Nolensville right down the road. No, Nolensville, what, about 15 minutes away?
Yeah.
Damn. It's a nice community. You know what I'm saying? It's a little expensive. I want to move over there. It's a little expensive over there.
On Jason's right hand and feet, indicative of a violent struggle.
He's a patient now. You can place a handcuffs. Not place you in arrest. You just call us and you go to the back of the car. So you can put the handcuffs. Good.
Okay. So you said there was a search warrant for me?
Correct. Yeah. There's a search warrant for your person. So we're going to the police department. We're going to be detaining you in the collection of the search warrant. We're assisting you.
Okay. And is there any calls or anything?
Yeah. They're going to explain. That's it. Yeah. We're going to let them do that. But I don't want to speak for them. Yeah, we don't want to misinform you of anything. So they'll tell you all that when we get down there. So just take it from them. They're the lead on this.
Crazy.
But we'll let them explain because we don't want to pile on information. We'll let them one side of the dog down.
Okay.
All right, so if you will, just face away from me. All right, do you have any
A search warrant was obtained for the house. In the room used by Jason, a black backpack and a collection of handwritten notes were confiscated. Some of these notes appear to have been Jason trying to get his story straight. One stated that he had last seen her on November 19th. They had spoken on the 22nd. He wrote that she had a history of running away and had a restraining order against an ex.
Wow.
It seemed that Jason had planned for his inevitable interview with police by recording that Jasmine had also been homeless. He wrote that he thought her mother was an alcoholic, all suggestive of her being an unpredictable runaway. In his backpack, inside of a glasses case, detectives found a SIM card. It was for Jasmine's device.
Wow.
They also obtained Jason's phone and downloaded the data. On Jason's cell phone, detectives found a picture of Jasmine standing in his bathroom taken on the night of her disappearance. There were multiple screenshots saved as well of text messages he had gotten from Jasmine, but the actual texts themselves were missing. On the morning after she had likely been killed, he sent her a photo along with a note, "Slept like a baby." Later that day, he asked, "Hey, are we still good for dinner tonight?" The photo's metadata revealed it was taken 2 years prior. From Jasmine's phone data, detectives could see that her device had taken the trip to Walmart along with Jason that morning, though he was shown on camera driving and shopping alone.
He thought he was smart.
He thought.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
finally, the phone's movements revealed where he had traveled after loading the large suitcase into his Camry. He had taken a drive to Suck Creek Road. The road ran parallel to the bank of a river. On Thursday, December 1st, walking along the bank of the river, investigators spotted an item. It was what they were, unfortunately, expecting to find: Jason Chen's large suitcase. Inside the suitcase, they found 98-pound Jasmine Pace.
Wow.
She was wrapped in 3 trash bags and had been shackled with 2 handcuffs. Her right arm was cuffed to her right ankle, and her left ankle was linked to her...
because she had developed rigor mortis, and he had to cuff her like that to force it to stay bended. Because he didn't have the suitcase to pack her in. Possibly, he had to figure out how to get rid of her. Over time, the body stiffened up, and typically, you know, when we listen to body cams, normally what they do with the body stiffed up, you gotta cut them.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm such a visual person, so you just, I get it.
Right elbow. They were not law enforcement bags and had been shackled with 2 handcuffs. Her right arm was cuffed to her right ankle, and her left ankle was linked to her right elbow. They were not law enforcement style handcuffs. These were less substantial. The chain of one was broken. An autopsy determined that Jasmine had been stabbed no less than 60 times.
Shut the
And you can see,
up.
bro. You can see in that photo. I'm not gonna take it back, but you can see the outline of her body.
Yes, he said no more.
The 60.
Wow.
Brutal.
Wow.
She won number 98.
98 pounds.
He looked big too. Like, as far as height wise, she 5'1", 5'2". He said 5'2", but her missing person paper flyer said 5'1", 98 pounds. So there's theoretically, if your niece was going off of her true height, was the height that she said she is. She said she's 5'1". Think about your niece. Your niece shorter than 5'1", though. She's shorter than 5'1".
She be saying she 4. What she be saying? She was like, I'm 4.
She'd have said 5 foot before. She'd be like, I'm 5
She never
foot.
said 5'2". She knows she ain't no 5'2".
I said 5 foot.
Yeah, 5 foot, but yeah. And she about, I don't know how much she weigh now since she done.
About 98.
She probably, maybe about, a good 98, I guess.
Your mama about 5'1".
Her mama?
Mm-hmm. Your mom taller than her, but your mom's short.
Wounds were centered in one area of her body, primarily the upper left side. The tip of a knife was removed from her chest. Jasmine was a devoted aunt to 2 nieces and godmother to a little boy named Waylon. According to her older sister Gabby, Jasmine wanted nothing more than to have children of her own, and always talked about what kind of mother she would be. She was also an animal lover and cherished her 4 cats. To those closest to her, the fun and sweet 22-year-old had always been known as Jazzy. Fiercely protective of her family and friends, Jasmine is remembered as someone who was always there for a friend in need, to share her love and support.
There was a moment when you're with her, you realized how clever, how smart, how brilliant she was.
Knowing how many lives that she touched and then spreading the word on my sister, I think it also touched other people's hearts that have probably gone through a situation like this.
I've known her my entire life, and I've never seen her burn a bridge or have ends with someone badly.
She just always made it a point to know, for you to know, that she was thinking of you and that she loved you. She was fierce over her family. She was fierce over her friends.
In December 2022, a judge set Jason Chen's bond at $5 million. As the gruesome nature of the murder reached the news media, many expressed disgust that Jason was offered a bond at all. By this stage, a complete timeline had been pieced together, including evidence that showed Jason had used Jasmine's phone and SIM card to access her banking information, her social media accounts, and to post fake updates after the murder. To a woman he had connected with on Tinder, he messaged, "I guess we're dating now," as Jasmine allegedly still lied dead in his bedroom. To friends later that night, he arranged to play Call of Duty online. He just needed to finish cleaning up his apartment, apparently. It was difficult to imagine what defense, if any, Jason Chen's legal team would put forward when the case came to trial, which it did in January 2025.
Yes, I've seen him. Yes.
Boy, he don't even look the same coming out. He did not look like that while he was at UT Chat.
No.
He looked totally different. He had longer, more Boy, y'all be knowing how to play them games coming into them courtrooms. Got to paint the picture, you know.
Forward when the case came to trial,
But you said you've seen it before?
In January 2025. In a shocking development on day one, defense attorney Josh Wise did not fight for his client's innocence. In opening statements, he told the jury Jason Chen killed Jasmine Pace, but that he didn't do it with premeditation. This is a case of voluntary manslaughter. Although the state was not pursuing the death penalty, Jason faced a life sentence without the possibility of parole if found guilty of first-degree premeditated murder.
And that's the key. Like I always say, like, because like knowing, and because we watch so many body cams and knowing like the legalities of it a little bit more than like the average person, I look at it as the way of how would the attorneys sometimes want to approach it, right? So the attorney going to approach it is a possibility of, because Tennessee doesn't have self-defense. So it's hard to rule certain things self-defense because there's no self-defense, really. So you look at it as like, all right, what kind of picture can we take? But it's hard to paint the picture of a 5'1". I need to know his measurements. But a 5'1", 98-pound girl being the aggressor and the threat. Like she could be the aggressor, but a real true threat.
So what they he's just trying to argue that it's manslaughter and not for
voluntary manslaughter, like she died due to the results of an argument or something.
I guess, that'll be the only way for you to get him a lighter sentence because
that's
we
what he's
have
trying to get.
All of this evidence. Like we know he did it, so it's no way that you can possibly like maybe it was someone else or put someone else or maybe like whatever. So this is the only route you could go as his attorney.
There's too much evidence against him to try to say my client's innocent. Yeah. Say, hey, yeah, he did it, but he didn't set his mind to do it. He took a picture of her brushing her teeth in his bathroom. Yeah, he could have reported the crime, but he's afraid if he report the crime, he'll get him more punishment. You get what I'm saying? So now
ability of parole if found guilty of first-degree premeditated murder. His best defense was to argue a lesser charge applied.
This is the suitcase in which Jason Chin stuffed the 98-pound body of Jasmine Crisp. That's where I'm going to begin this story. Except, I want you to remember that as you hear evidence in the next week, that this is not a story like the one that you read in a novel where you have to imagine the appearances of characters. The evidence that you will hear in this case is very real. The evidence will not require that you use your imagination. Jasmine Pace was very real. And Jason Chin really killed it.
But why?
For the crime to be deemed voluntary manslaughter, the defense needed to convince the jury that Jason had killed Jasmine in a fit of passion, that he had been provoked somehow into reacting in an irrational way, which led to her death. The theory they posited was that the couple...
Man.
Do you see what he didn't pull?
Yes.
Boy, this shit be pissing me the fuck off.
It pisses me off every time. I ain't trying to...
Boy, you ain't crying, my boy.
Killed Jasmine in a fit of passion, that he had been provoked somehow into reacting in an irrational way, which led to her death. The theory they posited was that the couple were drinking wine at his apartment late into the night. When Jasmine entered the kitchen to get another bottle, she heard the distinct sound of notifications from the Tinder dating app. These rang out repeatedly from her boyfriend's phone. Angered by this, she began to argue with him. The claim was that Jasmine attacked Jason with a broken wine glass. Having used a kitchen knife to remove the seal from the previous wine bottle in the bedroom, he had left it sitting on the bedside table. It was this knife that Jason instinctively reached for when he was attacked. Wise explained away the shackles found on Jasmine's body by arguing that Jason had panicked after the stabbing. He applied the handcuffs in order to make Jasmine fit inside of the bags in the suitcase. The timeline of the murder and attempted cover-up was detailed extensively through videos, Jason and Jasmine's cell phone data, as well as testimony from neighbors in the apartment building. Courtney Brewer reported hearing an altercation take place after 2 a.m.
On the night of November the 22nd and early hours of November the 23rd, was there an incident that you can recall?
Yes, I was woken up in the middle of the night by a loud scream.
Can you kind of take us, and you can go slowly through the events that woke you up and everything that you heard from that point until you didn't hear it?
There was a scream that startled me out of my sleep. I checked my phone to see the time because I was going to call 911. It was around 2 a.m. There was a voice that was screaming words. The words I couldn't understand fully.
Was it a male voice or female?
A female voice. And then there sounded, assuming that the apartment above mine is laid out the same as mine, there sounded like chasing, a lot of footsteps going across towards the front door.
One person's footsteps or two footsteps?
It sounded like multiple.
You said towards the front door. Was it towards the front door or towards the bedroom?
Towards the front door because I was in the bedroom when I heard it.
You had said that you heard a scream. Can you describe the scream?
Distressed. Not quite angry. Emphatic.
Recreating a possible scenario for the murder itself was...
And don't forget, she did say if the layout is similar to the way mine, because she doesn't know his... So she's assuming it's headed to the front door.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't know the layout of the apartment. Now she goes see it, she'll be like, oh yeah, it's the same layout. She'll be able to tell y'all, you know what I'm saying?
Was heavily dependent upon the physical evidence left at the crime scene. This is where the case became messy. Not only had Jason used various types of cleaning agents inside the apartment and disposed of many items, including the broken knife, the scene had also been accessed and searched by Katrina Pace, now Katrina Bean, multiple times. Questions were raised over potential contamination of the crime scene.
Yeah.
Why would the apartments look different after the police went in there than when they were in there? Who changed it?
The defense called its own crime scene expert to walk through the many changes that were visible.
That's why sometimes you have to let the detectives do their damn or police do their damn job and not intervene.
Yeah, and I know you as, a mother, father, family member, you want to know what happened, but in cases like this, you don't want to mess anything up because the person that has done something, you want to make sure that they get the time that they deserve and your loved one get their justice.
Because it's his apartment too, right?
It's his apartment.
But not Jasmine's.
I don't.
So why is the mom going in with access?
I don't think so, because it just kept saying in front of his apartment. I don't know, but yeah.
Unless they shared apartments.
Yeah, unless they share.
It doesn't make sense of her going in and getting access.
Yeah.
Now, he is a college student. I don't know if she was a college student. And it did look like a 1-bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
So they could have been sharing. Don't know on that part. But mom shouldn't have had, especially with him having access and the apartment also being in his name. Even if even if it is your daughter's apartment as well, you should have still contacted the police and, you know what I'm saying, allow them to do the search and not you.
He looks familiar. Between the first time police were called out to the point in time that it was photographed and processed. Furniture had been moved. Items had been taken. They questioned whether evidence could have been planted. Travis Pace testified that he did not recall seeing a knife on the bed when he first entered with his ex-wife to search for his daughter.
And then this past Monday, you were in this room when you saw Katrina Pace testify on that stand, right? Were any of those statements true?
Do we remember it differently?
You heard Katrina testify that she went back into the apartment multiple times after that night or after that morning?
I heard that.
Were you with her those times?
I was there.
You know what she did in the apartment during those times? Your ex-wife, Katrina Pace, does she have a reputation for being honest?
Objection. Right, objection. I'm like,
she's not on trial.
Right.
But I know what he going there to make her as a discredible witness and making her, but you can't use that tactic. You can go another way to make her seem like a dishonest person, but not in that role.
And but also just because I just want to, not just in this case, just period, like being like we go to the same scene or the same room. You may remember it different than I remember. You may be looking at it different.
But that's another reason why we both have agreed previous, like just having conversations.
Yeah.
That eyewitness testimony is not a good credible.
You know, because like we looking around. You may peep something that I didn't peep.
And sometimes your brain makes you think something is there, or make you believe they're not there,
or you overlook things. So
yeah,
I don't know, but yeah.
Honest person.
I don't have an opinion.
Yeah, man.
If the scene itself was considered suspect, the conclusions made by the medical examiner were not, and they pointed to a premeditated attack. Dr. Stephen Cogswell, the Hamilton County medical examiner, concluded that based on the location of the wounds, Jasmine had been in the fetal position while she was attacked. The shackles that she was found wearing had therefore likely been applied when she was still alive.
If someone were stabbing,
You will be able to tell.
So could y'all have possibly been on some? She was in a fetal position, so she already was.
Or like defense, like you attacking me. So
no, because they're trying to say she was already changed.
So we'll see. I don't want to assume nothing.
Well, y'all on just some freaky. Y'all some freaky little kink. You know what I'm saying? Little. Because I was like, why does he have cuffs?
But then what? Yeah, I get that.
They young.
No. But I'm saying, yeah, if we just doing that, then let's just do that. They don't explain like the stabbing.
But I'm saying, what if he had her cuffed and then?
And then what? Something happened. And then,
no.
Oh.
If she's cuffed, he comes back with the knife and immediately starts stabbing her. Premeditated. You cuffed her in the first place to be able to get her in the chain. But that doesn't explain the running that the neighbor heard.
I mean, she could have still heard that, and at some point, she probably.
I'm saying what they're trying to pitch is that she was already in
when she got chained up.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, I chain you. I go back. I go get a knife, and I come back and stab you.
Yeah.
That's premeditated. They're trying to get premeditation.
Yeah, I get what they're trying to do. I mean, which.
My bad. You said which what?
I said which it possibly could have been. Like, I just feel like I don't know. I just need more, but I just feel like he went through a lot for it to just been like you did
and that
a lot.
explains the breakage of the.
Yeah.
He did have her like
bound up.
Yeah.
Before, like.
And then, because they are cheaper cuffs.
That's crazy.
And so,
bro.
if that is the case, then that's 100% premeditated.
Yeah.
When she was still alive.
If someone were stabbing a person 60 times, you would expect them to try to get away. But what if they can't? What if they can't because their right hand is chained to their right leg, their left leg chained to their right elbow? Makes it difficult to run. Makes it difficult to do anything. Dr. Cogswell told you that she was stabbed in the fetal position 60 times. We'd also expect that if she's being attacked on the right side of her body, that she might try to defend herself with both hands. There should be injuries on both hands. Instead, what we have are injuries to the left hand, no significant injuries to the right hand.
Damn.
That's consistent with her being in the fetal position with a hand unable to move.
Wow.
On the ground.
If that is the case, that's 100% premeditated, and you a sick ass motherfucker. Well, you a sick ass motherfucker anyway.
Yeah.
But that is fucked up. Mm-hmm. You chain her to and I'll tell you, it's all about
and stab her 60 times.
It's all about the setup of a murder, which is first degree murder. Because like the body cam we heard earlier, the dude got charged with first degree. I didn't think it was first degree, but he had motive to do it, so it could have been first degree.
Yeah,
I was just trying to hear motive, but even the situation, but also with the situation and the placement, and if she was in cuffs, that's first degree. Because that's premeditation.
With the markings that would have been left on her body after the fact, you can tell that those cuffs was on her when she was still alive. So that's for sure.
It's consistent with exactly what we see on the screen right there. For being handcuffed.
He's sick.
Dr. Cogswell also found no alcohol consumption upon her death.
Come on.
Countering Jason's claim that they had drank wine for hours.
Damn.
The provocation that he had pointed to in order to make the murder fit the definition of manslaughter, those Tinder notifications which apparently angered Jasmine, were also a lie. When the data from the app was examined by a state expert, they found that he had not received a single Tinder notification to his phone that entire day. Jason Chen chose not to testify in his defense. Evidence was presented over 6 days.
This first degree.
In closing arguments, his legal team essentially abandoned their attempts to support his original story, pointing instead to a lack of ligature marks on Jasmine's wrists, which they said would be present if she was alive when handcuffed. Their crime scene expert had attempted to introduce doubt that Jasmine had been cuffed when alive by pointing to what could have been a bloody handprint on the bedsheets. Under cross-examination, however, he said that he couldn't be certain of what the transfer stain was. It had never been tested. Explanations to counter the rest of the state's evidence was not forthcoming. In addition, the shackles were not the only indication that the murder was premeditated.
Damn,
the number of wounds indicated that there was ample time for Jason to have contemplated and ended the attack.
True.
Prosecutor Cody Wamp concluded by recounting the timeline, specifically Courtney Brewer's recollection of hearing people running towards the apartment door at exactly 2:11 a.m.
And that's the part I said, the footsteps. The footsteps give me the indication what she really, you know what I'm saying? It'll weigh in my mind if it was like, was she really changed? Because the one chick testified, said she heard running. Because if she heard running, then how could she been chained? Like, because she would have been chained both one arm. Both chains was to one arm. One was to the left foot to the right arm, and the other was the the left foot to the right elbow, and the right foot to the right wrist. So she would have, but because she had this hand free,
Were they able?
that's why there's defensive wounds on the left hand and not on the right. But I'm trying to see, can you maybe?
Have they actually said like a actual estimated time of death?
It was sometime that morning.
Because what I was trying to say, she could have keep in mind, they've been in the apartment for hours.
Well, I guess I'll say this estimated time of death. I guess the girl would have indicated that because she said she woke up around
2
it was 2 something in the morning.
So, and yeah, because I was like, the possible footsteps could still be true. At some point, she probably was running. If she felt like the layout of the apartments are the same, and she felt like she was running to the front door, she could have been, and he could have been chasing her and basically kept her from leaving and chained her up. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, she could have heard footsteps, because footsteps when somebody running.
I don't know. I know what you're painting. I know what you're painting. And I get you.
And he could have bound her after that, and then I don't know. I'm just
but
trying
I also,
to make sense of it.
What will make her? My only other question I would have to really get a 100% definite. When y'all found her body, did she have clothing? You get what I'm saying? Clothing? Because I'll say this. If you was able to get the chains on her and premeditated, she would have been disclosed. And it could have been like, hey, we normally do some kinky stuff. And it could have been 100% premeditated. He knew he was going, but he needed to get you vulnerable enough to chain you up. If she had clothes on, possibility what you saying, she was running, he grabbed her, he took her back, but you don't let somebody just chain you like that. But she
only 98 pounds.
I'm finna say, let me finish. She is a lot smaller than him, so that is a possibility with that too. But that's my other other question is, when she was found, did she have any clothing on? Did she just have socks on? Did she have her undergarments on? Did she have her regular clothing on? Was she dressed in any sort? You know? That's the only other question I have.
Courtney was 2:11 a.m. The phone location to her mom was 2:18. 7 minutes. She screamed. Things happened. She was able to know she was in enough danger that she needed to send her mother her location. It wasn't fast. It wasn't fast at all, and we know that. 2:11 is 7 minutes from 2:18. It wasn't fast. She knew she was in danger. She tried to get out of the door, and Courtney told you that she heard a door slam.
Maybe what you leaning towards?
I honestly, there's
an argument that ensued.
That's the only thing that makes sense in my head. Because we stayed in apartments. Well, yeah, we've stayed in apartments, whatever.
Yeah.
It's somebody above you or whatever, but you know footsteps. You know somebody running. Yeah. So she definitely 9 times out of 10 heard what she heard. And the only thing
I'm not saying she didn't hear what she heard. I'm just saying
the only thing that I can make sense of is that they were arguing before, because keep in mind,
I forgot about the sending the location too. Because why would you airdrop your location if that's not something that you normally do?
The neighbor,
not airdrop, but send
the bottom neighbor. She sleep. She
woke up
out of her sleep from the screen,
and that's a lot.
So that's very someone is in danger. Yeah. And you hear these footsteps. So I'm thinking she's trying to escape danger.
So he drugged her back to the room and put the cuffs on her, chained her up. And then, oh, that's 100. Like, boy, if you was in danger, you could have chained her up, had an opportunity to leave your own damn self. If you want to go off the theory of it was a crime of passion, she bust the wine. You know,
you said if he was in danger, what?
Because you remember, he said his defense was she had grabbed a bottle of wine, which we know was a lie.
Yeah, I know all that.
But you pull her back. You chained her. Is what I'm saying. You chained her. By the time you chain her into the room, in the bedroom, you could have left. You could have retreated if you was in danger.
Or you didn't have to chain her all. You could have just left. Like, you could have just ran and left. Call authorities.
But if she chasing after you with a what's called, and you able to get her and lock her, what I'm saying is, but that's what I'm saying.
Jasmine knew she was in trouble. She had time to use her phone before he started killing her.
Jurors began deliberation at about 4:15 p.m. following the closing arguments. They came back with a verdict just after 5.
With respect to count 1.
Hold on. How long they deliberate?
You can take it back.
Jurors began deliberation at about 4:15 p.m. following the closing arguments. They came back with a verdict just after 5.
Boy, you guilty than a motherfucker. They ain't even stay back there a whole hour. Let's wrap this shit up. This motherfucker guilty as...
I said all we need is 45 minutes. Let's go.
I wonder why they ain't try the death penalty. Tennessee is a death penalty state. I wonder why they didn't petition it. Because typically in a crime like this, he getting life without parole.
With respect to count 1 of Presentment 315228, we, the jury, find the defendant, Jason Chen, guilty of first-degree premeditated murder.
This is an emotional verdict. Everyone needs to maintain decorum, please.
A juror later revealed that Jasmine's family members entering the crime scene repeatedly had little impact on the jury's decision, stating, "Every single person who went into that room or that apartment had a part in contamination. But it kind of didn't matter on our deliberations because we already knew what was admitted, that he had murdered her." During the sentencing phase of trial.
True.
Regardless of the fact, we know that he is the person. Like,
now we just gotta the crime scene is not intimidated.
Contaminated.
Contaminated. I said intimidated. Contaminated. We know for a fact he's openly admitted to the murder. Now we just got to rule that you do it out of
premeditation or out of passion of crime or whatever.
Passion.
What is it?
Out of
whatever the other
commit the crime out of passion.
A lesser charge.
Voluntary manslaughter.
Yeah. So we already now it's just determining what we go. Like, we got what we need.
Yeah. Yeah. True. That
so I wasn't mad at the mom because I get in the moment.
Yeah.
I feel like anybody parent.
But also don't try to jeopardize the case because you didn't know.
It's not trying to jeopardize the case. It's not thinking that you could jeopardize the case because you just want to know what happened to your child.
True.
But yeah.
True. But luckily he did admit, and now we just got to. It's either first degree or the other one, and it was 100% first degree.
Yeah.
That he had murdered her. During the sentencing phase of trial, jurors were faced with the decision of whether Jason Chen should be given an opportunity to seek parole at some point in his life.
Nope.
Through a translator, Jason Chen's mother made an emotional plea to the jury. He is a very good child. He is not a bad person. I pray that the judge and jury will give him a chance so that he can go home and restart his life.
Nope.
Wise asked the jury to offer his client the hope of redemption. He stated that the justice system is not only a measure of how we treat the most virtuous and innocent among us, but also a reflection of how we treat the condemned.
By allowing Jason the possibility of parole, we affirm our society's belief that the most condemned among us can strive to rebuild their humanity.
Life without parole, life with parole.
I would do life without. Because stabbing somebody 60 times, whatever, that's overkill.
And that's the kicker. The 60 time is the kicker. Also, I'm sure they already came to you with a plea deal. You decide to take it to court.
Yeah. That's overkill.
To life without. You had your opportunity because they all come. Every last case, they come with a plea deal. They probably offer you life with a possibility of parole, and y'all still want to take it to court.
Yeah.
They come with everybody with a plea deal. It's either whether or not you want to take it to trial.
I did say no parole, right?
I thought so.
I just got to make sure no parole.
You're not tasked with forgiving Jason Chen or even excusing his actions.
Yeah.
You are tasked with ensuring justice, a justice tempered with mercy.
No, we're not.
Not because Jason deserves it, but because it's a reflection of our humanity as a whole.
Well, that means everybody should have opportunity to, if that's the case.
About that, right.
Boy, you got a weak ass argument.
We ask that you give Jason the opportunity and a 73-year-old man to seek his redemption. Let him spend the next 5 decades behind bars reflecting on the choices that he made when he was 22 years old.
The jury returned with their sentencing decision in under an hour.
With respect to the sentence of the defendant, Jason Chen, on count 1 of presentment 315228, we, the jury, do unanimously find the following statutory aggravating circumstances beyond a reasonable doubt, in that the murder was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, and that it involved torture or serious physical abuse beyond that necessary to produce death, and do unanimously agree that the defendant's sentence shall be life imprisonment without the possibility of parole.
During the trial, Jasmine Pace's family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Jason Chen's parents, accusing the pair of harboring Jason and providing him with money and information in the days after the murder when he was the prime suspect, and they were searching desperately for their daughter. The loss of Jasmine and the subsequent legal proceedings clearly took a toll on the Pace family. Travis Pace testified that he and Katrina's relationship was difficult. When he took the stand to testify, called as a witness by the defense, many family members walked out of the courtroom. Nonetheless, with the sentence delivered, much of the family's ordeal is now over, and they received the justice they sought against a man they called a monster, and whose crime was described by prosecutors as heinous, atrocious, and cruel. And that was the tragic case of Jasmine Pace.
I ain't gonna hold you. Oh boy, y'all forgot what state y'all was in. You in the state of Tennessee, my boy. You were getting life without parole. You should have took that plea deal that they offer you. It is what it is. Tennessee is a harsh state. They're hard as a motherfucker. Also, there's a fair chance that they are gonna win that civil suit.
Oh yeah.
For one, the son was back at your home. He came back at it, and 9 times out of 10, they live in Noblesville. They have money. I know Noblesville. Been there. They have moolah, baby. Oh, the houses on the hill that you really like. That's part of Noblesville. See, I love them houses. 3-story. It's hard to find a 3-story home here, y'all. 3-story homes on hills. Mug got pools and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I didn't want to cut you off.
No, you good. Go.
I was just gonna say rest in peace to Jasmine.
Oh, for sure.
Rest in peace to Jasmine, because that was very tragic and super OD. You
uncalled for.
So uncalled for, bro. Even though it doesn't matter and it's not necessarily important because her family got the justice. Yeah. Got justice. What was your reasoning?
That's my thing, because we never understood.
What was the reason? Because you lied and said it was because y'all trying to paint her as the aggressor, and it was because of Tinder.
I'll say this: they probably never got motives due to the fact that the defense was trying to so they never got motives.
So they never got because I'm just like, bro, what? That still didn't make sense to me, even what y'all was trying to go with, but whatever. But yeah, rest in peace to Jasmine, and
And I ain't gonna lie, her death probably did weigh even more. Whatever her parents was going through, probably like weighed even more on their relationship. They probably was already, you know what I'm saying, going through things and then dealing with it.
Yeah.
That's a toll on a marriage as well.
And my condolences to her family as well.
Yeah, fast, man. I know I've heard of that case, but I didn't know no details behind it, man. But hey, man, y'all spam us up in the comments, man. Let us know y'all thoughts about it for us in the comment section down below. But until next time, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is
Sierra Nicole.
We are.
We
are.
No time to kick it, got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar, 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 dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar, 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 dollar.